The wind screamed across the lonely frontier as snow piled against the wooden walls of the outpost. Melissa Lewis tightened her coat around her shoulders, fighting the cold while checking the livestock. Her father had ridden out earlier that morning to assist a neighboring rancher, leaving her in charge until he returned. She was no stranger to winter storms, but this one carried a bitter edge she hadn't felt in years. As she latched the barn door, Melissa spotted something dark against the swirling white. At first, she thought it was debris caught in the wind until it moved. Her heart kicked. Someone was out there. She grabbed a lantern and trudged through the drifts. The closer she came, the clearer the shape became. A man, slumped off his horse, half buried in snow. The horse itself trembled, exhausted. "Sir, can you hear me?" Melissa knelt beside him. The man stirred weakly. "Help." His voice was hoarse, coated with pain. His uniform caught her eye. A cavalry scout. "You're freezing." Melissa looped his arm around her shoulders and hauled him to his feet. "Come on, don't you dare quit on me." It took everything she had to drag him inside the outpost cabin. She laid him on a cot near the fire, removed his heavy coat, and saw a nasty gash across his ribs, frozen blood, sealing the torn fabric to his skin. He winced as she cut the cloth away. "Name's Travis Cole," he murmured. "I'm Melissa. You're safe here." Melissa cleaned the wound, her hands steady despite the storm rattling the windows. She wrapped him in blankets and spooned warm broth between his lips. His breathing steadied, though his eyes remained glassy. "You saved my life," Travis whispered. "Let's get you warm first," Melissa replied softly, brushing the damp hair from his forehead. Outside, the storm worsened, sealing the cabin in a cocoon of wind and snow. Inside, a stranger's life now depended on her, and Melissa felt deep in her bones that this storm had brought more than danger to her doorstep. It had brought change. By morning, the storm still raged, burying the world in white silence. Melissa knelt beside Travis with a bucket of warm water and fresh bandages. His fever had broken overnight, and color had returned to his face. "You look better," she said. He gave a faint smile. "Feels like a freight wagon rolled over me. But better than freezing to death." Melissa blushed. "Well, we don't allow dying inside this outpost. House rules." Travis chuckled, but the movement made him hiss with pain. Melissa gently checked the wound. "You were lucky. Another hour out in that cold." "I know." His eyes softened. "Thank you." She waved it off, but her cheeks warmed. "Anyone would have done the same." "Not anyone," he corrected. "Not with this storm." The wind thundered outside, rattling the shutters. Melissa stoked the fire, the glow lighting her face. Travis watched her with quiet admiration. Her strength, her calm, her warmth in the midst of winter. "So what were you doing out in that storm?" she asked. "Carrying a message to Fort Whitley," Travis said. "Didn't expect the weather to turn so quick. That trail's dangerous, even in good weather. I figured that out the hard way." Melissa smiled, despite herself. She handed him hot tea, careful to steady his shaking hands. "Sip slowly." Their fingers brushed. The contact was small but electric. Travis swallowed and looked away, clearing his throat. "Your father's the outpost keeper." "Yes. He should be back tomorrow. If the storm lets him." He nodded. "He's raised a capable daughter." Her stomach fluttered. "I just do what needs doing." As the hours passed, they talked about simple things, favorite camp meals, frontier sunsets, and the funny names soldiers gave their horses. Melissa found herself laughing more than she had in months. She noticed the way Travis looked at her like she was the only warm thing in the room. When evening came, Melissa draped another blanket over him. "Rest, you're healing well." He caught her hand before she pulled away. "Melissa, I'm glad the storm brought me here." Her breath caught. She didn't answer, but she didn't pull her hand back either. Outside, winter howled. Inside, something warmer had begun to melt between them. The blizzard held them hostage for 2 more days, turning the outpost into an island adrift in a frozen world. Melissa tended to Travis with practiced care, bringing him warm meals, refreshing his bandages. and coaxing him into gentle exercises to regain strength. "You're a better nurse than half the army medics I know," Travis teased as she checked his temperature. She raised a brow. "Is that a compliment?" "It's the highest one I've got." Melissa shook her head, though a faint smile betrayed her. "You talk too much for someone recovering. If I talk more when I'm comfortable." The warmth in his eyes made her chest tighten. They spent long hours talking while the storm roared outside. Travis told her of scouting missions, desert heat, and star-filled nights on the plains. Melissa spoke of the outpost, her late mother, her father's stories of the frontier, and dreams she had never shared aloud. "I want to see more than these woods," she admitted one evening. "I love this place, but sometimes I feel like the world is out there calling my name." Travis watched her admiration etched across his features. "Then you should see it. Someone as brave as you belongs out there choosing your own trail." Their gazes held, long and unbroken. The fire crackled between them. Melissa's heart beat too fast. She wasn't used to being seen truly seen. When Travis tried to stand later that night, he wobbled. Melissa rushed to steady him, her hands gripping his waist. He looked down at her, close enough to feel her breath. "Easy," she whispered. Something in her wanted him to finish the thought, but the wind slammed against the cabin, snapping the fragile moment. She stepped back, flustered. "You need to rest." Travis nodded, though disappointment shadowed his eyes. As he lay down, Melissa sat near the fire, staring into the flames. Her heart felt tangled, caught between duty, longing, and a warmth she couldn't deny. Outside, the storm wrapped the world in white. Inside, another storm was brewing, one far more dangerous and far harder to resist. By the third morning, the storm finally began to break. The skies lightened, and the wind eased into a tired hush. Snowdrifts towered outside the cabin, but the worst had passed. Melissa stepped back inside, brushing frost from her sleeves. "It's clearing," she announced. "Father should be home soon." Travis nodded, though something unreadable flickered across his face. "Good. He'll be glad you're safe." Melissa avoided his gaze. The thought of Travis leaving tightened her chest unexpectedly. "How's the pain?" she asked. "Less than yesterday," he said. "Thanks to you." He tried standing again, and this time Melissa stayed close, but didn't touch him unless he needed it. He walked a few steps, leaning against the table, breathing hard but proud. "You're healing quickly," she said. "My motivation's been strong." She swallowed. "And what motivation is that?" His eyes locked onto hers. "You." The breath left her lungs. Travis stepped closer, slow and steady, as though giving her time to retreat. "Melissa, I've been in storms, skirmishes, deserts, but nothing has ever felt like these last few days. You're something I never expected to find." She felt heat rise to her cheeks. "Travis, you saved my life," he said quietly. "But more than that, you reminded me what warmth feels like." Her heart hammered. She took a shaky breath. "I don't know what this is." "I do," he replied. "But I won't push you." Melissa looked down at her hands. For years she had been the strong one, the reliable one, quietly tending the outpost, supporting her father, dreaming of horizons she might never see. But Travis had looked at her like she was sunlight. Slowly, she reached for his hand. "I don't want you to leave," she whispered. Travis exhaled shakily, his thumb brushing her knuckles. "I won't, not unless you want me to." Just then, hoofbeats echoed through the clearing. Melissa's father had returned. She jumped slightly, pulling her hand away. I need to help him." Travis nodded, though his eyes were warm. "Go." Melissa stepped outside, her mind spinning. The storm had brought a stranger to her door. The thaw had revealed something much deeper. Melissa's father, Grant Lewis, stomped into the cabin, shaking snow from his coat. "Heard you had a visitor," that nearly froze himself solid. He eyed Travis with a mixture of curiosity and concern. "Soldier, you owe my daughter your hide." "Yes, sir," Travis replied respectfully. "She saved my life." Grant chuckled. "That sounds like Melissa." As Grant unpacked supplies, Melissa filled him in on the storm and Travis's injury. Travis tried to stand straighter, but Grant waved a hand. Boy, sit before you, fall over. You're not marching anywhere yet. Over the next day, Travis helped where he could mending tack, splitting wood, feeding livestock even though Melissa fussed at him for overexerting himself. You're supposed to be healing, she scolded. Good way to stay warm, he teased. Her father noticed the way they looked at each other. One evening, as the sun dipped behind the snowy pines, Grant pulled Melissa aside. You care for him, he said simply. Melissa's breath caught. Father, I'm not blind, he softened. Storms bring people together in ways calm weather never could. Question is, what do you want? She looked toward the barn, where Travis was brushing down his horse. I don't want this to end. Grant nodded. Then don't let it. Later that night, Melissa stepped outside. The snow glowed under the moonlight as Travis finished tending his horse. He turned when he heard her footsteps. Melissa, he said softly. She approached him, nervous but resolute. The storm's over. You don't have to stay. I know. But she took a breath. I want you to. Travis's eyes warmed like spring after winter. Melissa, I don't want to ride away. Not from you. She smiled, shy, but sure. Then don't. He stepped closer, brushing a gloved hand along her cheek. I fell for you in that cabin. I tried to fight it, but I lost that battle quick. She laughed softly, leaning into his touch. I think I did too. Snow fell gently around them as Travis pulled her into a tender kiss, warm, slow, full of promise. The storm had brought him to her door. The thaw had opened her heart, and the frontier for the first time felt full of spring. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more Western stories.